Okay, what are we doing?
What's happening?
This is a talkies.
It's talkies time.
Talkies time.
Chapter 2 of Kubrick Con.
Yeah, this is Kubrick Con. Going on a long journey here.
Kubrick Con.
Yeah.
Yep.
Conference of Kubrick.
Yes, Kubrick Conference.
This is the second movie that we're doing on our deep dive of Kubrick.
Yep.
Right. So if you missed our coverage of Eyes Wide Shut, you should watch it.
Yeah, go check it out. We did it last week.
Because it was freaking awesome.
It was a boring
What a good movie.
episode.
What a good movie.
Well,
It was a boring movie.
Anyway, we watched Full Metal Jacket.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
How do you even begin?
So I haven't seen
I
it.
want to hear D talk about
No,
it.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, pause. Go watch the movie. You're back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, watched it?
Yeah, I did.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, hot takes, of course.
Yeah,
Which
totally.
our hot takes are like not that hot. 'Cause
No,
we've each seen
they're
the
like-
movie.
yeah,
a long
they're kinda
time.
tepid.
And a hot
Yeah.
take usually means like something controversial, but it might not really controversial.
Let's hear it. Lay it on us. Hot take, Taylor.
Hot take. My hot take. Full Metal Jacket. One of the best movies ever made. Probably my favorite war movie ever. And I have no qualms with this movie. And I have a lot to say about it, so I'm excited.
Excellent. My hot take is very unique and individual to myself. Probably one of the best movies ever made. One of my favorite war movies of all time. I will add to that, though. This is my favorite Kubrick film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair choice.
Man,
Can't go wrong with that.
neato. Okay, so I was talking to Amy a little bit. My wife, for those of you who don't know. You guys, I'm talking to you guys.
I didn't know you were married.
I didn't know you were
know,
married.
So,
This changes things.
so I was talking to her a little bit about how you guys seem to like Kubrick, right, as a filmmaker, and
Which is a controversial point of view.
and every film class that I've ever attended, sucks Kubrick's dick. So I was trying to figure out what is wrong with me to where I can watch a Kubrick film and I can't polarize myself. I can't be on the I think this guy's the most amazing director of all time. And it's because I just don't feel that way. Yeah.
But what about Full Metal Jacket?
So I liked Full Metal Jacket quite a lot. And that's it.
You just liked it?
I liked it.
You don't have anything to say about it?
I have a lot to say about it, but it's but it was pretty good. It was good. It's a good movie.
Okay. Wow. Not sure where to. Well, this is a little awkward.
Yeah, I'm not polarized. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I almost wish you hated it. Now I don't know.
Yeah, you gave the most offensive response.
It kind of is because I'm like, well, sure, it's good. Everyone knows it's good, D. All right, interesting. Well, we'll get into that. Just to start the ball rolling, for me, the first time I saw this film was probably 12 or 13 years ago. It was a solo viewing by myself on my computer in the dark late at night.
That's what
And
I did.
Had no idea what I was getting into. Like I knew nothing about the film other than my uncle said, "This is a famous acclaimed movie. You should watch it." And I mean, mind blown. It made me instantly anti-war and anti-military. Like I'm just like, I am never doing that for any cause. Like it's just not happening, right? But yeah, something about this is so graspable to me. Like it feels. We talked about the last film, Eyes Wide Shut, being very surreal, almost like you could have dreamt the movie.
Yeah.
This one, I felt like I was there.
Yeah.
Like it felt very graspable,
visceral.
Very grounded in reality for the most part.
Yeah, grounded.
Yeah. Like it all kind of stings. The whole movie stings for me.
I want to make a point. Last episode, I had drawn like a similarity between The Shining and Eyes Wide Shut. I was like, I feel like I can see his fingerprint, but now I totally understand what you guys were talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there is zero, like that. There's zero surrealism in this film.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows how to rein in his style.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
he knows when to use it
Which-
and what to do and what not to do.
Which makes Eyes Wide Shut all the more interesting to me.
Right.
So it's like I want to talk about that again.
Yeah, that's what I mean about Eyes Wide Shut, because people are always like, "Oh, that one's kind of weird," but it's all intentional.
There is a little bit of surreal stylistic
a touch.
moment.
There's a touch.
with
There's
the bathroom, the famous
bathroom scene.
Yeah.
All of the squibs
Totally are pretty crazy.
seem
Yeah, I don't know about.
they're definitely not going for
Well,
realistic.
I felt a bit of what do you call it? Because this movie's pretty old. I felt
the era
I felt
Yeah.
the aging in it.
that those weren't that
dating.
wasn't an uncommon squib
Yeah.
for
The time, the
Yeah.
color
but
specifically.
at the same time, I don't think that a director like him would choose a chest squib that explodes outward on accident.
No, but it's a squib that does what do you call it? Full on like liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to
it's like a Django Unchained squib.
as opposed to like vaporized.
Yeah. Well, and it's in the like opposite direction of physics.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the headshot, the suicide was
Very realistic.
very real.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know,
yeah, that was a very real.
But when he shoots the drill sergeant, it's it's slow motion. He's falling backwards, and you see this liquid burst coming out.
But that happened with all the kills. All the kills
in the
except,
field it did too.
Yeah, all the kills except for one specific one that I can't remember exactly what happened, but someone got shot in the shoulder and then it was vaporized.
Yeah.
But everything else was liquid like paint.
Yeah,
Looked like
it
paint.
felt, and to me that felt surreal,
Yeah.
not real. Also, right before the when they all pound on Pyle with the soap in the towel.
Yeah.
The first time they show them putting the soap in the towel, it's under this like intense blue light
Yeah.
with like almost like a ambient electric music.
Yeah.
Going on in the
Yeah, yeah.
background. That felt very Eyes Wide Shut to me.
Yeah, I was gonna
did.
say
I was looking for those moments because of you. I'm like, okay, yeah, that is a little.
That's
I see that.
when he started. That was the first time he started using like color, specifically blue light, like in a really extreme way.
Maybe he just
because he did that in
likes
Eyes Wide Shut too. Yeah, but he hadn't done that prior. He hadn't done like that cool,
Right.
super like CTB. Is that right? CTB?
Yeah, like double
Yeah.
CTV.
Yeah, just straight up blue light.
There was
which
a-
he really liked. I think that was cool.
Sorry, I'm gonna get off subject. Not gonna get off subject.
Yeah, that sequence is one of my favorite sequences just ever. Like
It is
I
so-
love that scene. It's
It breaks
heartbreaking.
my heart
Yeah,
every time,
Yeah.
and the performance.
yeah.
I just feel like they literally beat him.
It's
because his performance is so
He's just in pain.
anguished.
Yeah,
Yeah. I didn't feel that way. I knew like the performance was great, and I knew what they were doing, and I was just like, oh my god, that's terrible, but it felt cheesy to me, because every time, because the soap, every time it would hit him, it made like one of those punching sounds that you have in older movies, the and not just a, you know.
that's what it did sound like to me.
I thought it sounded real.
I thought it sounded perfect.
No, it sounded fake to me.
Man,
Lame, lame.
all right. So some of the criticism that I've seen of this movie, and there's not a lot of it out there, but the people who have, there's been a lot of people that take issue with the drill sergeant character.
I don't see why.
Like he's a cartoon,
He's definitely like
you know.
I feel like he's cartoonish, but I feel like that was a direction from Kubrick to
yeah.
be like, obviously drill sergeants are over the top. That's just the way they're
That's
supposed
the
to be.
point of it.
Right. But this guy, like the way he has his expressions and the way he does this to people, he looks from under instead of over. Like I feel like those are all intended decisions.
The way he chooses words was
And like
amazing.
He was a real drill sergeant also.
Well, yeah. So the book is based off of so the film is based off a book called Short Timers, and Short Timers is based off of an autobiography from a guy who went to Nam, who was, I think, a Joker, that guy. But what was interesting about it is that when they made it into a script form for the movie, they had another writer come on, and they didn't really, like, Kubrick wanted to ground a lot of this stuff, and so he kept trying to get to the author. It was funny, the author called it a 3-year phone call with interruptions, because the author didn't want anything to do with Kubrick. He didn't really care that his book became a movie, but it took a lot of convincing to try to get him on board to revisit that era, to bring up all this stuff.
It almost surprised me that Kubrick would want to even talk to the author because of the way he adapts.
Right.
See, he tends to make it so much his own.
He co-wrote with I think his name's Marcus Herr or something, Herr. I don't know what the first name is, but anyway, he brought on that guy as a script writer, and then he kind of co-wrote with him. So it's not his script first. It's definitely some other guy's script that Kubrick helped nudge into the right direction.
That's what he always did.
Yeah. It's his.
He always worked with writing partners.
He's directing the writing, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Some I know the novelist for. Oh, I don't know. Never mind. But I know for some movie he worked pretty closely with the author of the original source material. I think it was like Lolita or something, or I don't know.
Did you know Joker
Did you know? Oh, it's Did You Know time.
is Eleven's dad?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Her dad.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
In Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things, yeah.
The actor.
That's crazy.
That's Private Joker.
Wow.
Joker returns in Stranger Things.
This movie has my favorite ending of all movies I've ever seen.
It is a great ending.
Yeah, absolutely adore it.
Gotta disagree with you there.
It's not your favorite movie of all time. It's not your favorite ending.
It's not
ever?
your favorite ending.
Oh, it's not my favorite ending.
No, it's not. I
expected it to be your favorite ending.
I absolutely
of all movies ever.
Love the last shot completely. The last shot is like the last, I guess, I don't want to call it a sequence or even a scene, but it's when Joker's narration comes back in and they're all singing the Mickey Mouse song.
Yeah.
I love that whole sequence. I love those shots, and I love the thematic tie-in of everything, and just like having one last comment on the war at large, and I just love that. But the scene before it, where Joker had to kill that one girl, who's sniper, who had an AK. What happened to her sniper, by the way? Why did she have an AK when she also had a sniper somewhere?
She didn't have an AK.
When Joker goes over there and she gets shot, and then he has like this kind of heavy moment where he has to kill somebody in order to be what's the word, merciful.
Yeah.
And Mother just wants to leave her dying and rotting. I like that quite a bit. I like that just heaviness of that scene, but the scene felt like it just lingered too long. It felt like it lingered on her face, that she was making, like she was constantly making this face that was like surprised. And I understand what's going on. She's dying. I mean, obviously you're not going to make any other face, but it felt, that's where I feel like this movie kept getting in the dating kept getting in the way for me, because I've seen that kind of stuff in other movies.
I don't know exactly what your issue is.
You never know what my issue is.
It's interesting to me that this is like the third instance in a row where we had a pretty deep emotional attachment to what we saw on the screen that you did not.
Yeah, that I felt was cheesy, more or less.
Yeah. Because that is, to me, just such an intense scene.
Well, so like in Indiana Jones, for example, right, is a movie that's also old, but we can read into all the... we can look past the aging on some parts and be like, oh, okay, I can see what they were going for here, and the action is so awesome because of that. And here, I feel like I'm doing the same thing, but I feel like I have to consciously do it because the aging's getting in the way for me.
I think that I don't think aging ever gets in the way for me.
I was gonna say specifically with Full Metal Jacket, I've never felt that movie's age. Like,
that's funny to me, because I like almost every scene I felt that.
Yeah.
The type of acting, the type of filming, the type of gimbals that they're using, the type of dollies, everything in that movie screams that age.
To me, it all screams Kubrick. not
Yeah.
necessarily a period.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kubrick was a filmmaker at that age.
Of
so.
a period, yeah. But he had such a specific way of using all those tools.
Yeah, he did. I can agree with that.
Yeah. And so that's why I don't feel the date.
Back to the ending scene. I think the scene that you just described,
And that's not even what the scene I was talking about, by the way. The scene, my favorite sequence is the voiceover, them
Mickey
walking
Mouse,
at
right.
the last 5 minutes.
I'm talking about that scene with her.
I know.
And I think they are connected in such a way that help each other. That final scene where we have these soldiers, they've come to a place where they've met up with other platoons, right? And
Yeah.
so they're marching together. There's lots of them, and they're in the midst of just a horrific reality.
Yeah.
We have one instance where we saw what one of them had to go through, but we don't know what all of them had to go through. And so we're going to end on this reminder that just a few short years ago, these were kids on the floor of the living room watching the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
Like the Mickey Mouse Club march is the thing that they have in common. They don't know each other, right? They don't know their backgrounds. But what do they all have in common? They were all just kids.
Yeah, which is why I love that sequence so much.
Yeah,
me too.
Because like it's a last comment on the war at large. You know.
Yeah.
And it's such a bleak way to end a movie, too. Like, they're just marching, and we get these dolly shots where we're falling along. It's kind of a low-angle shot, and you got the burning of the cacophony of fire engulfing. It's like they're walking through a hell-torn warscape, because they literally are. And they're just marching, singing the song, and then the voiceover is talking about, his days back home when things were simpler, and he had his crushes and stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And then literally just fade out to black, and that's it. That is so bleak. I love that so
Fade out
much.
to Paint It Black.
Yeah, paint it black. Yeah.
To what?
Paint It Black is the song that comes in right after that.
Yeah. This movie is said to be in 2 parts.
Yeah, that always kind of irked me a little bit.
I don't know why it's said to be in 2 parts. It feels like a Kubrick movie to me. It doesn't feel like it's 2 parts. It feels like we're starting with this one part, and then we're going to another part, and then we're going to another part, like you were talking about.
I agree.
Non-submersible units. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's the way it is in the book too. It's part 1 and
think,
part 2.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to make that conclusion, though. For me, this was the first Kubrick film I'd ever seen. Okay, so I didn't have anything to compare it to in terms of how he formats a movie. But that was one of my first initial impressions. That when we went to Vietnam, it was like one complete story had ended and a new story was beginning.
And that's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what the book was about.
Yeah. So I get why it's split in half. A lot of times, a lot of people think of it in 2 halves. Like on Reddit, I see people say like, they'll specifically say the first half of Full Metal Jacket is the best movie ever made, or whatever.
That I hate.
Yeah,
that
like
I would agree with.
Yeah.
I would say that the first part is the best movie ever made.
That's what so a lot of people have that opinion. A lot of people say the first half is just like amazing, and I agree, it is amazing. But I think the whole movie is amazing. I don't think there's a dip in quality at any point.
Never. There's never a dip in quality.
Yeah, that's what people suggest. Is the second half is inferior by far.
I wouldn't
to the
say
first
that.
half.
But I could say that. I could say that if you're comparing the 2 pieces as their own things, that I much prefer the first part because the first part's so intimate, and the second part we jump around to 3 or 4 other characters, which is again very Kubrick. It feels like that's what we're doing on purpose. But and even the feelings that we get, like the emotional kinds of shots, I love the cinematography so much in the entire movie, but the rhythm stops being what it was in the first.
Yeah, there is definitely a very much a hard line in the sand.
Yeah.
Of when this movie does change.
Yeah.
I like entirely different.
Yeah, whole different feel.
Pace.
Yeah.
Well, so that's what I would mean in that it doesn't dip in quality, but it changes completely.
Yeah, it changes completely. Yeah. But I don't like viewing them isolated. I think they complement each other. I think the contrast is completely necessary.
I think they were written that way for
and
for a purpose.
the whole purpose is set up so you know what these people went through, and you know the process, the breaking down process.
Yeah, and it suggests at a deeper level that even though we could put you through the closest thing to hell as possible in our training, what you experience in war will be nothing like you thought it would.
Yeah, totally.
Nothing at all. And that's what having it have this like just distinct feel of it almost being like another movie.
Yeah.
Actually works for that reason.
Yeah, I would say that it does complement that way. Also, I feel like it complements almost like character-wise for Joker's character. Like I feel like he went through hell in PT, and then as soon as we went to war, he like kind of put up this facade of like, you know, not that I've already gone through this, but he wasn't taking anything seriously. And I think that's probably why they focus so long on that last shot of him being, you know, trying to kill this other girl, because it's the first time he's doing it. And so it's, I think it gets pretty heavy that way.
Yeah, he probably never thought he would have ever had to kill somebody.
Right.
After talking about being a killer
Yeah.
the whole movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And and wearing a helmet.
Yeah,
says
born to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so amazing. The again concepts in this movie, it's like, from what I've read and what I've heard in like interviews and stuff, is that Kubrick was particularly fascinated by the concept of war, the fact that war happens at all, what motivates war to happen, how do you get into that mind state of mind.
Interesting. Yeah.
He liked exploring that, and to me, I think Full Metal Jacket is like, obviously it's a Vietnam War movie, and it comments directly about the specifics of what the specific politics of the Vietnam War. But I think it's also with the Marine Corps stuff, and then that transition into actual warfare, also kind of commenting broader on war, and it's a broader exploration of like the process of war and getting into that.
Definitely agree. I've always felt that for being a Vietnam War movie, which there are many, this one says the least about the Vietnam War. Like most Vietnam War movies have very strong statements to make about this particular period in our past,
or even
and what a great sin it was to send all these people in to die for no real purpose.
Yeah.
Right. What the commentary of this film had more to do with the concept of war itself.
Exactly. Yeah. Completely agree. Yeah. I think I really love that about it. Yeah. I think that's a really, really cool thing. Like, it's like the Vietnam War and like this political specifics about the Vietnam War serve as like subtext more
as a
than
backdrop almost.
Yeah, exactly, so, rather than the meat.
I want to clarify what you just said. Are you saying that the war, the politics of the war, what Taylor said, but the politics of the war is separate from what they're saying? What are you saying about?
I'm saying that in comparison to other Vietnam films, which were very popular at the time of this film being made, there's very little heavy-handedness about. There's not a strong anti-Vietnam vibe to this movie.
Yeah.
You know?
I would totally agree with that, and I love that part of the whole thing. Right, that's probably what makes this one of my favorite movies, is that they don't go heavy-handed in the messaging. Which is awesome. That is, it's a first and foremost a movie that we're talking about, a story, and that's it. I like what was it? I was gonna say I want to compare this. So I was thinking what you said the other day. You asked me what my favorite war movie was, and after watching this one, it made me think that I can't really pick a favorite war movie, because I feel like they're all so, at least the ones that I'm thinking about, they're all so unique, and that they all have their own thing to say and say it their own way. Yeah. Right. And so with that, the kind of commentary that I like the best, I think, was in this movie and The Hurt Locker, where they and a specific scene in Saving Private Ryan. I really like the idea that you can comment on behaviors or comment on war at large through just the actions that are happening, and not actually have anything to say specifically about the politics of it or anything like that. Yeah, I really like that.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. That's like one of my favorite things about Full Metal Jacket too. Yeah, I think that's such a cool idea. About the Vietnam War movies at the time, because this movie came out in, I think, 89 or something like that.
I think that's right.
Somewhere around there. And it had been in production for a long ass time. And so people were like pretty skeptical of the movie as it was starting to come out. I remember I don't remember, but I've read about how it was a common sentiment leading up to this release was that like a Vietnam War movie in 1989. It's like long enough has passed, but it's still like slightly like an awkward time to really. It seemed like, you're just kind of late to the party. Everyone did their Vietnam movie already, and it's not really relevant anymore. Which is funny because like that argument kind of makes sense at the time, but in retrospect, it didn't matter at all. Not at all. Like you don't even think about that.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of a funny thing.
Which is why filmmakers shouldn't base the stories they want to tell on
a current
popular sentiment.
Popular sentiment.
The popular
exactly.
sentiment, because it's like that popular sentiment's going to change, but your movie won't.
Besides, there's been a dozen more Vietnam movies since.
Exactly, yeah.
Some of them have been very good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that's I think that's specifically what we're talking about, is that Kubrick doesn't go out of his way to make something that is not in his heart.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's what I love most about Kubrick films, is that he never seems to put message in anything. It's all about the story.
It's all about the story. It's all about the art of cinema.
The art of cinema.
And
I got heavy, by the way, Apocalypse Now vibes from this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I very much liked.
I adore
all the good
that
parts
movie.
of Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. Kubrick, I remember in an interview I saw with Kubrick's wife, who's still alive, she said that towards the end of Kubrick's life, when he was like, I think he was in pre-pro on like Eyes Wide Shut or something, he would often talk about how he felt like he hadn't made enough movies. He always regretted that. He always wished to have made more movies, but because he had such a strict process and he cared so deeply about the quality of his films, that he would wait as long as it took to find a good story. That's why we have 20 years we get 3 movies,
because that's like an amazing movie.
Yeah, and it's masterpiece after masterpiece.
Right.
So it's like it pays off.
Yeah.
And I always really respected that about Stanley Kubrick.
When people talk about the craft of filmmaking, they use that particular word, craft. I feel like this is the way we should be contextualizing it, right? Is the way Kubrick looked at it, the way that he has a tool set, and he wants to use these tools to create something interesting, not the way that we've been taught in film school, about how to use these tools specifically and why to use them and stuff. It's like you should provide your own why, and then and then
it's like he developed his own cinematic language.
I wouldn't say that much, but yes, but I'd say that's the right direction. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Hey, do you know where they shot the Vietnam footage?
London, probably.
It was England. They shot in England.
He does everything in England.
Yeah.
That was in the UK. So
yeah, he shipped in palm trees. He had palm trees brought in and planted.
I'm just wondering about all these massive, broken up concrete structures.
Created.
One of those
they were
things.
made for the movie.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It is insane.
One of those broken buildings.
Crazy.
Yeah.
One of those buildings looked like a prop to me.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, that screams prop. Everything else looks really, really good of the time. It looks like it was just blown up. I was like, that's crazy. But that one, that's a prop.
All right, I'll give you a qualm. Here's my Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid qualm.
My Full Metal Jacket qualm.
Solid.
Full Metal Solid Jacket.
Solid Jacket.
It's when Cowboy is about to run out and he's like rounding a corner to go save somebody or something, and he has his big ass gun and he pulls up and he starts unloading on a building, and it's one gun and
you see
bullets go one way, and the whole face of the building just starts exploding as if it's like a barrage of tons of both guns going off.
I will counter that with, I think that's the way guns work.
They're massively inaccurate to cover.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like a machine gun, but not like that though. It was one machine gun, and it was the whole building, like every square foot of the building.
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah. Because that was like weird to me too. I remember seeing that scene, and from what I remember, I thought it was from the windows down. So it was like, it looked like a big, what was it, like a 40 foot by 40 foot section.
I have a counter.
Double counter.
Kitchen counter.
I would love to not have a qualm with Full Metal Jacket. So
wait, you have a counter for my counter?
Well, no, his counter.
His okay.
Yeah, I think that if I remember correctly, that basically a shot or two later, they're revealing that he has backup. Everyone's shooting.
Oh, okay.
So like he's shooting, because I remember seeing that too, just like
Barrage.
everything
yeah.
exploding. But every time an incoming round came in, it was like hit the whole platoon, just like jumped to their feet and was like, bah, 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 you know, try to shoot this invisible enemy. We'd have to go back. And
Yeah,
that's the thing. You have to go
look at it. Yeah.
I think that everyone was shooting.
I want that.
That
to be
might
the
have been
case.
implied.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Could be real.
Another
Could be true.
factoid, as Kenny likes to point out.
Thank you.
Factoids.
Give me a factoid.
Yeah. Kubrick changed the title from Short Timers to Full Metal Jacket because was it? I can't remember who said. I think it was the author who was thinking people might think that the title of the movie means people who half work, who half-ass. And so Kubrick was like, there's a bullet that says Full Metal Jacket. Let's call it Full Metal Jacket.
Call it Full Metal Jacket.
Do you know if that change was made after shooting or before?
I don't know.
Because we talked about how this was one of the most like non-cringy drops of the movie title when Pyle says it.
Yeah.
And that would obviously be the case because it wasn't the title at the time.
It could be that the script existed before
that's
shooting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
like,
he probably
if the
pulled it
actor
from the
isn't
script.
aware that he's saying the title of the movie,
Yeah,
that
it's not
could
gonna be a thing.
definitely,
Yeah.
Right.
definitely impact.
You know what was funny is he Pyle says he says Full Metal Jacket in like such a projected way, but he's saying all the words that he's doing really projected because he's in like some kind of crazy.
That sequence is so amazing.
I also have a counter to that. So continue.
That sequence is probably one of the only times in the movie where it does feel like pretty surreal. Like we start really jumping into some hyper like realism sort of stuff where things get a little bit melodramatic, especially with Private Pyle, where he becomes almost a monster. It feels like he's just like Frankenstein or something.
Yeah.
I felt like he was a nemesis to Batman in that scene, and I wouldn't say that's in a good way. It took me out of the movie because the way he's doing this.
I will tell you, it is intentional.
I don't like that.
Kubrick gave that actor a reference for that scene in specific.
Maybe then I just don't like Kubrick's direction.
Yeah, maybe not, because his reference was literally like a monster movie. He was like, I want you to be a monster.
See, that was hilarious to me because it happened and I'm just like, what is this guy, a comic book character? Like it suddenly became not human anymore. And I was like, I'm so connected with all these human parts of this guy, right? This guy who's obviously not mentally there, that he's like really feeling this immense guilt from doing the whole jelly donut thing, and not physically able. He's fat. You're like all of these things that are built up against him, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then he starts talking to his gun, and then he starts doing all these things that I feel like people on the surface level of mental illness would connect to. They'd be like, oh yeah, that guy's crazy because he talks to guns, and that guy's crazy because he makes weird faces. Like, it's just that. I feel like it was just slapped on top. And I'm like,
so you think we're basic? That's what you're saying.
I feel like Kubrick almost designed the script basic at that point. Yeah.
But we love it. So you're saying we basic?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you basic. Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, it felt less complex during.
Funny enough, on this viewing, in this particular scene, when that moment of what you might call overacting came, I was thinking about all the ways in which I thought it worked and really enjoyed it. Like I've always thought this scene was just a masterpiece. And a thought popped into my head: D won't like this scene.
Why is that?
Because of his performance.
Yeah, but what about his performance would let you know that I wouldn't like it?
I just know you well. I knew you were going to say what you just said.
So what about me? What about it?
That it seemed to be a stylistic choice that was different from what had happened earlier.
Okay, so that contrast doesn't bother you?
No, not at all.
I love it even. Like
Yeah.
it adds.
It just
that-
felt like turning up the volume, like we're raising to another level.
So what we're talking about then is I think connection with the piece at that point, right? And like we were with 1917. Like I was so connected at every point in 1917 that even the cheesier parts made me go, holy fuck, that's amazing, right? To where the shot, even the long shot, the oneer throughout the whole thing added more to it. And I was just like, wow, that's amazing. It's just building on top of what I already thought. So because I wasn't fully connected at this point, that part where there was a deep contrast change suddenly, it ripped me out and it was too much for me.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys were connected with it, and so it built on top, like
Right.
the Wonder did for me.
Yep.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I knew it would for you.
All right. Very cool.
Full Metal Jacket is probably my most rewatched Kubrick movie.
I could easily rewatch this
Yeah.
so many times.
Yeah,
It's not a challenging movie.
It's actually
not in the way
kinda
Eyes Wide Shut is.
Yeah, it's not draining or anything.
Or even 2001.
Totally, yeah. It's
Yeah.
actually quite an entertaining movie. I've probably seen it like 25 times or something. Yeah.
That's a lot of times.
Yeah. This was before Eyes Wide Shut became my favorite. Full Metal Jacket was my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
and now I don't have a favorite, but
Yeah.
it's like any of them. Just
Yeah.
pick any one. It's my favorite.
That's kind of how I feel right now, because like I love pretty much all of Kubrick's films, and like even the qualms that I have with them are like they're so small compared to like every other movie that
Like,
I've seen.
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Like imagine you didn't know anything about Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And imagine life had existed completely different in a
That's
world
very-
without
that's very
Kubrick.
tough.
I know, very sad.
Use your
Very sad world.
imagination.
It's very tough.
Imagine Full Metal Jacket came out today,
Yeah.
and we went to go see it. Do you think that would change how you feel about
Oh,
it?
yeah,
Would you be like
absolutely.
more blown away?
It would change because of the context, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way in all art, you know, it doesn't just have to be movies, but the way all art is absorbed is through the context of society.
Mm-hmm.
That's just always the way it is. And so if something back then were to come out now, it would be judged with a different context.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't tell you. It would be just a completely different judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what I'm saying is they don't make them like they used to.
I felt a lot of that. Actually, one specific scene that there's one specific scene that jumped out to me, and it's like the most mundane scene. It's so great. It's where I think it was Cowboy, or I don't remember. No, it was what's the dude's name? Joker. It was Joker and Rafters. Mm-hmm. Rafter Man. That's his name. Joker and Rafterman are beginning their way into the shit, as they called it, right? And they come up on this road, and they're talking to this one guy that they just found, and they're asking him like where everything is, and they're giving him a map, and they're just walking along. I love that scene so much, like that, with all the cars driving by, the civilians going the opposite way. Like the mise-en-scene in there is amazing. There's no other movie that I felt like has that kind of mise-en-scene. There's movies like or Apocalypse Now, I guess, is the only other one that I can compare it to, because really that's the only one that I felt like did it. But like most movies don't have that amount of grounded realism to me. Even movies like The Hurt Locker, where they're like trying to make you one of the soldiers, like it still felt like there's a movie going on outside of this scene right here. You see the scenes, and you see like the other buildings and the other people, but you can tell that the others are extras, right?
Right.
This felt like every single person here was an actor. Was like
Yeah.
they were the story. I was living the story, and
Yeah.
I loved how deep that was.
I love that too. I had the same thought for a different scene or a different shot. And that was the scene/shot where Joker is at the top of the climbing ladder thing, that big pillar in the training in the first half, and Private Pyle is climbing up, and the shot is like the camera must be on a crane all the way at the top, and we see Joker sitting there, and in the background we see more of the training materials, all the courses, everything is placed really composed really nicely, so the image looks really pleasing. And then we have just a long line of soldiers who are all doing the course, all running, just like tons of them, all in the background, like little ants running around. doing the course. And I remember thinking how logistics of doing that, like it's not the most crazy scene or anything, but it's still, you gotta
but it's
you have to
massive.
direct, it's on a large scale, and it's a long shot. The shot holds for them to do their whole dialogue, all the climbing over, and they're just running the course, and it felt so real, like you said.
That I think is probably what impresses me the most about Kubrick is he has a mind that I believe Orson Welles had also, a mind for the set. Is that he thinks about the frame that you're going to see, and he thinks about every single detail that you're going to see in that frame, extending to the farthest amounts, and like, I'm going to control all of it. Yeah. Right. And I love that so much, because there's so many movies that I feel like they don't care about the extras at that point. That they're like,
they just try to fill the screen.
Right. They
You
just
can
try to fill it.
tell in this one that he took the time to make sure that the soldiers doing the course, even be they far in the far background of the shot, are going at it as if they will die if they don't put all, so they're 200 yards away, but they are hitting the course with crazy intensity as if they were in front of the camera.
I never once believed I was outside of the film, and that's why the strong contrast points, by the way, are so strong for me.
It's fair. Even the extras are like it feels like the extras aren't aware that they're on a movie. Which is great. Yeah, which is great. Like I actually think I remember. So you guys remember the movie Hancock with Will Smith? He was a superhero.
Hey, that's a good comparison to this movie.
You were there during the filming.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, so I was there on Hollywood Boulevard out front of the Chinese Grauman Theater where they were shooting. I saw Will Smith walking around or whatever doing the scenes, and I didn't know the context because the movie wasn't out, obviously. And what they were doing was basically what happens in the movie is Will Smith is like flying and he's in this big battle with Charlize Theron, and Will Smith gets like punched and he comes flying down from like outer space or something and lands on the street of Hollywood Boulevard, and there's a bunch of debris and he slides across the road making a huge like impact crater and stuff. And it's like really epic and like super action packed, and they were like blowing up cars and stuff. And when you watch the movie, they didn't control the sidewalks. So in the movie, it's only maybe like 15 seconds where you see Will Smith come smash down, but you see hundreds of people all on the sidewalks just being like, just like looking.
Isn't that interesting?
Kubrick would not allow for that to happen.
Absolutely. He would have built Hollywood Boulevard.
Exactly.
I think that's probably why he does the soundstage stuff that he does, right?
Yeah.
Is because he wants to control everything.
Yes.
That I identify with.
Totally.
That's why we moved everything out of a house and moved the people out so we could do anything we wanted when we shot our film.
See, I feel like the best kind of directing is where you not only could take control of everything, but to the point to where you provide details in the movie that probably won't even be seen on the frame whatsoever. Yeah. But you have it in there just in case. And I love that kind of direction. That kind of absolute control is just what makes me fall in love with Kubrick as a filmmaker, and also because he's the opposite of lazy when it comes to filmmaking.
Oh yeah,
he's so intensive.
Yeah,
it's good.
Now in terms of control, animation is a whole nother ballpark, but Pixar goes to similar lengths when they make their movies. There's a particular moment in Monsters Inc. when they have Boo in their apartment with Mike and Sully, and Mike knocks over a stack of DVDs, of albums, music, right? And it's a couple seconds. It falls over, it scatters across the ground, and it just takes a couple seconds. But they created full-on cover art, name of the album, name of the artist, track listings for every one of the albums, and had it on every single one of those. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that point still stands in live action too, because you can do the exact same thing in live action.
And
Pixar
you can take shortcuts.
Totally. Yeah.
You could be the guy that just puts rows and rows of encyclopedias on the bookshelf just because it's what you had access to.
Right.
To
Not
make it
thinking
look
about,
like the
like,
bookshelf is full of books.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's like, would he be having rows and rows of encyclopedia on his shelf?
And to compare us and Taylor specifically to Kubrick, we did the same thing with Fifth and Main.
Yeah.
And Taylor has a beard.
Taylor's Kubrick.
Taylor's Kubrick.
Do it again. 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 Do it again.
Taylor's not Kubrick whatsoever.
Do it again. Oh, that was my Kubrick impression. Do it
Oh,
again.
I
Do it
get
again.
it.
Do it
Did again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
You're actually not Kubrick.
I'm not at all.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah.
You're
You
Kubrick.
just
I
share
just-
some values,
Yeah,
which we share as well.
Yeah, it's just like
So
good principles.
This is not
yeah.
a special.
Yeah.
That's
It's not a special thing. We're all
You're-
Kubrick.
You're just
Yeah, we've all made this film before.
you just care about movies. So
Yeah.
I guess you're Kubrick.
That reminds me of my favorite Quentin Tarantino quote. He says,
Oh, dear.
if you truly love with every fiber of your body cinema, then you can't help but make a good movie.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because the movie is an extension of yourself. You know, so if you put all of yourself into it, it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
Good meaning good art, because
most people.
there's
enjoy
no
it.
objectively good.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah. Subjective exists.
Is the only thing that exists, except for math.
Comedy.
Ah,
Comedy is
exists.
objective.
comedy is
Comedy
objective.
is truth.
Right. I forgot about that.
The only truth. Math lies. Talk to quantum physicists. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
Math isn't true.
Math isn't true. Actually, math is true, but reality isn't.
Actually,
There you go.
Actually, I know that math is not true because I have, in fact, written down, like, I've done the problem. I've done the math problem to prove this. If you write down, like most people say 2 + 2 is 4.
All right.
You get a calculator, it'll say 4 every single time.
Holds up.
If you're actually doing the math by hand, you can do 2 + 2. It can equal whatever you want. You can do 2 + 2 = 5, 2 + 2 = 10. You can do anything.
The math debunked. What do you say to that, D?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to say to that.
You gonna tell me math is objective now?
Yeah,
Prove me wrong.
Obviously not.
Okay.
Prove me wrong.
Come up with different answers. It's not objective. He says 10, I say 5.
Oh man.
Sounds subjective to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And Kubrick is good and bad.
Yeah, I'd say what you guys are doing is not math at that point. That's probably one.
Yeah, but that's
no,
just
but
like your
2
opinion.
+ 2 equals.
That's not
You
math.
can write that. Yeah, it is.
It's not math though.
You're telling me
2
2
is
+ 2
math.
You're telling me 2 + 2 equals is not math?
Yes. When it's followed by the wrong answer, yes.
Wrong answer.
Yep.
How do you prove it's the wrong answer, though?
By using math.
Oh, see?
Yeah, that's how they get
like,
you, D.
That's like saying, how we're gonna ask this baseball bat.
It's exactly like that.
It's a baseball bat.
It is. That's true because like you're gonna do that.
You're gonna
and-
use it to judge itself.
No,
True. How
no,
can you
you're
do
gonna
that?
use. No, you're gonna use.
How do you know math isn't bias?
True.
Of course, math would say math is math.
No.
Math is bias.
No, no, it's not.
What you need is something truly objective.
That's what math is.
I don't get it, dude. I just don't get it.
Anyway, what kind of
Kubrick
pizza
is great. Math sucks. Math blows.
No,
no
math-
one loves math.
No, I do.
Oh,
You
I
yeah.
like
don't.
math. Yeah,
You can't love math. It is cold and heartless.
I love it. That's why I love
It doesn't care about
That's
you.
why I love
I respect it.
I
You know, one-
disrespect.
Math.
One thing we never brought up, and none of us have any issues over whatsoever, is the first 30 minutes of the movie, because it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it's just masterful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just want to say that.
I 100% agree.
I would say that's true of the whole
Of the whole movie.
True. Yeah. Dude. Here's one more thing I thought about.
Do it. Is this a math thing or a movie?
This
thing?
is a movie thing. This is
No,
actually
please keep
back
it to
on
math.
topic.
We're talking about math.
Okay, this is math now. God. All right, so 2 + 2. We're gonna go over this again.
Math hour over.
Math hour over.
So I was thinking about how I kept thinking about that submersible unit idea.
Yeah.
Throughout this movie, and I think it's true of this movie. There's a lot of units, but I almost want to say that pretty much every scene in this movie can stand on its own in isolation of the rest of the movie and kind of like say something.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I think that's a hard thing to do. Like, that's really hard to do because at times he's like, it gives you a different kind of pacing for a movie where there's not a particular like almost story to latch onto. I can
tell you this. I think that's a testament to, like you said, his non-submersible units. It's a testament to structure, right? It's the reason. It's how Kubrick goes around making his movies. Because if you would take a movie that we all think is really, really good, like Florida Project, for example, and take out just a little piece of it, it wouldn't stand on it by itself because that's just not structured that way. So I wouldn't say that's what makes it good, but it makes it definitely unique.
That's what I just like that about it.
It's a testament to
awesome.
structure
Absolutely.
and the antithesis of it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't say it's the antithesis to structure.
it is and it depends how you look at it. Because what I'm saying is the traditional way of thinking about creating a movie or a story, of any kind, just the way that we always talk about it, and you always see people do it. They have one whole piece in mind.
Yeah.
And then they're going to try to break that whole piece into smaller pieces, just to make each piece a little more manageable.
Sure.
Right. And
Yeah.
so you break it into thirds, and you call those acts, and then you break the acts into sequences. You break the sequences into scenes.
Yeah.
And this is an entirely different way of thinking about creating a whole.
I don't know if, because we talked about structure a little bit last episode in Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I would agree completely with the structure being different than most filmmakers. There might be, because I'm not inside the filmmakers' heads when they're writing this, but typically when you look at a script, you look at a script that's written in however way it's written, and then you can break it down afterwards into whatever structure you want to. And the reason why we do that is to study them. It's not necessarily to set up a template so then we can do that later. What ends up happening is when we talk about events that lead up to a moment, which is what cinema is all about. It's all about linear happenings. It's just an event that happens one way. Because that happens, you have a before and you have an after. You have cause and effect. And that's basically what every structure is about. It's about organizing the cause and effects, and that's it. Non-submersible units is just another way of thinking about it. And it's cool that he approaches his films that way, but I wouldn't say that anyone approaches their films specifically as a 3-act structure or a 5-act structure or a 7-act structure, 11 with Save the Cat structure. Like, it can be any structure. And I don't think the 3-act hero's journey or anything like that has been a default method. I think
a lot of people do.
I think it is default.
It's not supposed to be. It's
I agree.
Certainly not.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
But I think 90% of the people who are trying to be writers start that way every time.
That's really unfortunate.
I agree. Yeah. That's why I kind of feel like there hasn't been movies made as good as Kubrick's since he died almost. Obviously that's an extreme statement because there's so many movies I love that have come out in the past 20 years, but his whole filmography was a journey almost. His whole filmography, every movie was a journey of building out his own artistic voice and building out his own kind of cinematic structure that he felt was effective. And I think more filmmakers should be doing that their own way, figuring out their own structure, their own voice within cinema, and using a 3-act structure as a guide, like you said, I think it's totally cool as a starting place or whatever, but it shouldn't be the end all be all, you should be striving to make something new. I think you can if you want to, obviously, but
if you want to, sure. But I think breaking down your script for structure first is just a bad thing to do. I think you want to tell a story first, and then afterwards maybe break it down the structure if you want.
Depending on the story you want to tell and what kind of story we're talking about.
Yeah, and then there's the whole thing of there's a difference between having a story and having a whole, even complete story, and turning it into a screenplay. which are
Yeah.
you know.
Which is different. Yeah.
Yeah, which that's I think where people lay on these templates and
Sure.
structure techniques.
Oh yeah. No, I could definitely
You
see
know?
that. Yeah. I mean,
you
like
can make your story, it could be massive, you know, and you're like, well, now I need it to be like 90 minutes, and so
Right.
here's a template.
Right. Yeah. No, I could definitely see
Yeah.
that, and that's where episodic television, I think, really
It does
falls
open
apart.
some can of worms.
Yeah. I think that's because that's almost structure based, is that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why Avatar: The Last Airbender is amazing.
But yes, I think more filmmakers should be developing out a unique filmmaking process to them, their own, maybe not even maybe structure is not quite the right word, but process of creating their
No film
films.
school. Anti-film school.
No,
Wait, I want to
That's
say
what we're
real quick.
coming
I want to say real quick. What's his name? The guy who directed
Kubrick.
The Lighthouse. Joel
Eggers.
something Eggers.
Oh,
Robert.
Robert
yes,
Eggers.
Robert
That's
Eggers.
exactly right.
Yeah.
His process for making his movies is really, really interesting because he starts his script writing process in history. His guiding rod, his guiding force is historical accuracy. He wants to create an atmosphere first, and he wants that rooted in some sort of historical accuracy, and then he builds on the artistic side of that, and he puts on his own flares from that base.
That's interesting.
And I think that's a unique process.
That's
and
definitely
you see it in his movies. He has really interesting, fresh movies coming out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, and,
had-
and my statement from the beginning had more to do with, I think this whole non-submersible unit concept, what I'm saying is that it flies in the face of what's traditionally happening now, which is what we define as printed movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's no
Blumhouse.
Blumhouse. Yeah. I think there's no oh man, vocabulary's failing me. When I was in film school, during script writing, we would talk about structure a lot, but we would also talk about these are just things that you should have in your head and just absorb them. Don't apply them into your script and then make a script that way. That's not how scripts are written. I just thought that was really, really neat. To your point about thinking about submersible units as just a way to not submersible units, but thinking about just a way to just create your own movies, your own structure, as you put it. I think it gets harder the more movies become popular, right? Because there's it's like filmmaking in general. We talked about how cameras, started becoming easier and easier to obtain, and therefore got more massive of an art, and therefore less what, definitive, I guess is the word I want to say. Like, because
It made filmmaking accessible. Therefore, you didn't have to go to a big film school to learn how to do it. You can do it yourself, and therefore your new creations are being made. New ways of thinking about movie making is being made.
Well, that's a good point, because that's not the point I was making.
Oh, okay.
That's a perfect point, though. But yeah, the discipline, basically, there's a discipline that builds up and then breaks down, in this curve of getting something more massive and more popular. And with filmmaking in general, when you're just writing scripts, a discipline did increase, and I think we might be on the cusp of that bell curve where everyone is following a formula, and people are looking more to structure as a way to
Totally
go forward. And I think it gets hard because there's so many people that are following this, and I hope that in the future it gets so just everywhere, and I hope we're kind of instrumental in that plan.
Yeah.
But I hope I hope on the downside of that curve that people start formulate. What am I saying?
formulating some,
their own structures and their own
Yeah.
ways of
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah.
So I had a meeting with a producer just the other day, and when I mentioned that we're primarily making shorts, his eyebrows went up and was like, "Why would you do that?"
Right.
You know. So yeah, that shift, I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah, I agree.
where cinema is literally treated like an art.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
that can be free to
Cinema's
be
art? That's kind of weird.
Well, I know people say it, but then we
don't
put it
back
in
it
some
up.
very narrow boxes
totally.
of what a movie should be.
Yeah.
We do, yeah.
I think it's actually kind of interesting what you're saying about contemporary film and the way films made today, because I think there's two extremes going on right now. There's the MCU, Disney, huge corporate studios who are just churning out their absolutely formulated, structured to the T movies.
Yeah.
And those are hyper successful, and all the big studios are clamoring to get in on that.
Yeah.
And they have been for the past 10 years pretty much. And then there's another side of that, I think, that is more in line with the technology growth that we've seen, again, over the past like 20, 25 years, making filmmaking accessible, is we're getting people we get this like more experimental, like more interesting movies are still coming out, like A24 movies that are getting put out pretty often and are getting decent success.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like there's two sides of the coin where it's like these two extremes are kind of going off, where like you get a movie like The Lighthouse or like Uncut Gems or like Hereditary and Midsummer, and then you get movies like any Marvel movie.
You just can't even think about
Movies
them.
like Marvel.
Movies like Marvel. That's all you need to say. They all feel the same.
The Marvel.
The
yeah,
Marvel
they do feel
movies,
the same. Yeah. I think that's a great point. Yeah.
Extremely formulated based on what people actually want.
Yeah, it is literally giving the audience what they want, and they're doing that.
Yeah.
Because they make people like those movies. Not me.
Not you?
Not
Wait,
me.
you don't like Marvel?
Mm-mm.
What are you, a DC fanboy?
I hate DC
You're a DC
too.
fanboy.
DC movies suck.
Yeah, you're a DC fanboy.
Release the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, Snyder Cut. Yeah.
Snyder Cut's gonna suck.
It will.
It-
It will.
I don't even see how that's. How's
Man
it
of
possible?
Steel wasn't even good.
How is it possible that a Snyder Cut even happens? I don't get it.
What a great discussion on Full Metal Jacket.
We've really come full circle.
I love that. Well, it makes sense that we're talking about
We've
Stanley
trailed
Kubrick and then
in.
go into filmmaking as a whole, because
Yeah.
Stanley is an amazing filmmaker.
Yo.
Yeah, that's true.
What?
Pizza.
What?
Pizza.
What are you talking about?
Pizza.
Oh, you're talking about what kind of pizza is Full Metal Jacket, right? Is that the?
Huh?
No, I was just hungry.
Oh, okay.
What kind of pizza is Full Metal Jacket?
It's your turn now.
Uh,
No, you got to say it.
what kind of pizza is Full Metal Jacket?
Is that a question?
Is that what you wanted me to say?
I think so. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. It's This is really hard to do with Kubrick movies.
This is
Pizza
really
rating,
tough
yeah,
to do,
because
yeah.
my pizza rating is just gonna be pretty. But the pizza rating, I think I'm gonna give it's accurate, but it's boring. It's
Well, then it's a boring movie.
it's just Full Metal Jacket is just another absolutely amazing, completely fresh, hot pepperoni pizza, where that's like the little cups, like tiny pepperonis that are kind of spicy and they're really good. And there's freshly grated Parmesan cheese and red pepper flakes on top. Mm-hmm. And red pepper flakes.
Okay.
And it's homemade mozzarella on there, and the sauce is deep and rich flavor.
Wow.
And it's just absolute, and the crust is like just buttery, crispy perfection. That
makes me
It's
hungry.
absolutely amazing pizza.
That sounds like Eyes Wide Shut.
And it's the same pizza rating I gave to Eyes Wide Shut. It is the same one.
It's the same movie.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
multiple movies can have 4-star ratings.
That's true. And some could have 5.
Some can have 5. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, do you like any pizza toppings other than
pepperoni?
Pepperoni, Parmesan, and red pepper flakes. Okay.
No, pepperoni is the most toppings I will put on.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
What's yours?
So for me, I gotta take it a little more nuanced, right?
A little more?
Yep. gonna say this is it's a very, very good artisan pizza, the kind that if you're hungry and you go and you're served this pizza, you'll be raving to everyone that you just had the best pizza you ever had. It's that level pizza, no question. But it also it teaches you something about the fundamental nature of eating.
Of eating, not pizza.
No, beyond pizza. I mean just eating food.
Damn.
The way you think about eating food changes after you have this pizza.
Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I want that pizza.
I want that pizza. Okay.
You had it when you watched this movie.
I had the pizza. I thought I had the kind of spicy
maybe.
cupped
Pepperoni ones.
pepperonis.
Yeah.
That was on it.
Yeah.
I thought that's what I had.
The toppings are...
It's Mountain Mike's.
The toppings are just... That's in your mind. Yeah, it's up to your own interpretation.
Oh.
I'm just saying the pizza is that good and
Yes.
has that effect.
Ah.
Okay.
Whether that means pepperoni or pineapple.
So, have you guys seen the movie The Peaceful Warrior?
No.
It's not good.
It's not that great. But The Peaceful Warrior has this scene in it where the dude is eating a poke bowl, fish and rice. Mm-hmm. He's just eating it, and the guru guy is eating it pretty slowly, just enjoying every bite, and the other guy's just... And he's like, what are you doing? Like, why don't you eat the food? He's like, I am eating. He's like, no, eat the food, taste the food, enjoy the food. I feel like watching this movie, Full Metal Jacket, is taking what's the word? A mindfulness approach to eating pizza. So I will agree with you that it teaches you something about eating. you eat the pizza and you're forced into this state of like, I've never actually felt the texture of the crust before, and the chewiness of the cheese, and incredible mouthfeel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our three pizzas are quite congruent today.
Yeah.
If the pizza we've described existed, I would do anything to get that.
That would be a
Damn.
pizza to end all pizzas.
Like,
It would be, huh?
I would pay top dollar. I would steal.
Wow.
I might even kill.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I killed someone to watch this movie, so
I understand that.
I was born to kill.
I
Hey.
am become death.
Can I see your killer face?
Ah,
Bullshit. Show me your killer face.
ah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Good stuff.
Wait.
No, we're ending the episode now.
Wait.
We're done. Bye.
No.
Killer face. Ah! Bullshit.
I don't remember. I was just gonna.
Oh,
quote.
come on.
I was just gonna quote something.
Yeah,
I don't
quote
remember.
something.
It
Quote it.
was.
We can edit.
John
We can edit.
Yeah, that I love that quote.
John Wayne.
Is that you, John Wayne?
Is that you, John Wayne,
Is
or
this
is
me?
it just me?
I don't know. It's gone. It didn't matter.
Well, this is a unfortunate set of events to lead us to...
I don't know what I've been told. That's you should cut it right there. That'd be a perfect ending.
Say it again.
I don't know what I've been.
I didn't even stop it yet.